Hi. Life is hard. Life is not easy. No one's guaranteed an easy life. And you know, you have the choice in those moments to either say, well, I'm gonna let it consume me and be negative, or you can say, well, I'm just gonna do the best I can.
This is your little brother, Noah. He's snuggling here.
Yeah, so the plan was definitely to always have kids. You know, you talk to Andrew at any given time. So we kind of went into that with this, you know, I think a really solid expectation of what we thought our future was gonna hold before the twins were born.
And then it turned out different. The babies were born, they were in the NICU. I think Troy mentioned Noah was actually doing amazingly well. He was no longer in the ventilator. We weren't really so worried about him. Rowan, on the other hand, was on fairly aggressive support to keep her blood pressure up. On the ventilator, was on a high frequency ventilator. There was a lot of questions about what was gonna happen with her and what her outcome would be, and he was fine. And then we got a call of, you need to come down here now. And so then we got there and had a couple hours with Noah before he passed from sepsis that had only been found that morning. And then our other baby, who has these very vulnerable brain injuries, the one who's been on all the support, like true, I mean, life support, everything. Now suddenly she has an infection too, and you know, what do you expect?
We wanted Rowan to have a spunky name because we needed Rowan to have some spunk in that moment. We needed her to be feisty and fight for literally her life. I'm sorry. Whatever it is, that parent feeling of, I need to do something. That came about between Andrea and I, and so we pushed to move and we were able to get her to Helen DeVos.
And I remember reading kind of online about the early developmental clinic and saying, hey, you know, it says they do virtual visits, they do PT, they do the developmental clinic, they do OT, they do swallow studies there, which is something she needed, they do the GMA and all those pieces.
I love the parent contact and the parents when they grow and know what is important for the child's next step. When you have a child, you want them to do the best, and you're feeding them and you're doing what you need to do with them, but then when they're not doing at what they should at their age, then you get worried, but you don't know what to cheer for.
As a parent, you always, you know, it could be everything. It could be cerebral palsy, it could be just this like huge, like the world could look like so many different things. But in that moment, like, it just took the right people, even 500 miles away, to just look at her for 15 minutes and, you know, see what she does, see how her hands move and all these things that they know how to do.
I feel like that's the whole point of this clinic, is to determine if there's a feeding issue or if there's an OT issue or a PT issue and address it now.
I think sometimes people have this mindset of, well, let's just wait until they don't hit the milestone and then it's a problem and then we'll address it. I think that, I believe that's baseline for most. And that could just be because, you know, they don't know maybe what else to look for, or that's just how what's quote unquote worked for them in the past. But that just doesn't sit well with us, and I know it doesn't sit well with the team at Mary Free Bed. I know that they fully believe, like, if we interact, or if we engage early and often, that we'll have much better chance of success.
They were all there. They rotated through everybody. It was Micah with PT, it was Rose with OT, it was nutrition. I mean, it was everything. Like all of those fears that we had about what she needed, we had someone who was an expert in that, and they worked together and they were willing to work with us.
You can kind of get all that movement from the hips if you like shift the weight over, and if you just like pick up on one side, that's enough to kind of free that leg to step over. Sure. I mean, this is a pretty advanced handling technique, so you're gonna be an honorary PT here shortly.
Right. If you had asked me 6 months ago, 5 months, I mean, you know, not that long ago, where I thought we would be today, I think she has exceeded where I was hoping we would be.
Hi, Rowan. How's your sitting? Hi. We're sending this to Micah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we want Rowan to be one of the stories, not the story.
That's the reason that I'm here, is to see the kids grow and to do new things, and the parents to grow and the parents to appreciate the things that their child can do.
Through all this, I've come to realize the power of community and the power of leaning on support when you need it. So
100%, every part of me believes that Rowan's life and our life is changed for the better because of the connections we made, truthfully, both at Helen DeVos in the NICU and with Mary Freebed.
Good morning on this beautiful morning, everyone, and welcome to Mary Freebed. I'm Kent Riddle and have been serving for the last 12 years as Mary Freebed's CEO, and just delighted to welcome everyone here, especially members of state legislature that are here, and also our governor. It's our tradition to begin meetings here at Mary Freebed with a wow moment, and today we'll peel back the curtain a little bit on an exciting event, and we'll let that be our wow moment. But today is really about collaboration, private and public collaboration, and that is the spirit of what today is about. We're in a growth spurt. The number of kids across the state that we have treated over the last few years has increased 75%. During 2021, nearly 60% of all Michigan's children from both peninsulas have received their care here. Our wow moment today is really this announcement about collaboration. So let me just address that. First of all, expert specialized clinicians that love kids. 2 organizations that encourage and support them to heal, recover, and thrive. Elected officials who come together to invest in children's lives, and private donors who do the same. About these 2 organizations, this Children's Rehabilitation Hospital is a 50-50 partnership between Mary Freebed and Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. And Tina Fries-Decker, the CEO of Beaumont Health, Spectrum Health, is here today. Tina, you can wave or something, yeah. Along with her team, who are all friends. Really quickly, here's the blueprint of our future. A new hospital that will be built across the street, you see the cars over there on Wealthy Street, with a skywalk connected to our campus. It will be dedicated exclusively to providing life-changing rehabilitation for children born with malformations, defects, recovering from diseases, any number of diseases, cancer, chronic pain, or traumatic injuries. This proposed hospital will be the only freestanding children's rehabilitation hospital in Michigan, 9th in the nation, and one of only 3 that's located between the 2 coasts. And as the newest, it will be the most technologically advanced and specialized in our country. So let me show you a picture. And we can save it for the press conference if you're interested. Thank you. We are trying to emulate both Helen DeVos Children's Hospital and Mary Freebed's campus in the building. Those are 2 different views from different sides of the building. We're capable of financially supporting the hospital once it's built, but like other children's hospitals, it takes an entire community to be able to put them together and create them. And so our public and private partnership with the state of Michigan, with the county, with the federal government, and with so many donors will provide the grants and the funding necessary to be able to make this a reality. As a society, kids' health care is underfunded, and the state of Michigan has really stepped up. Michigan legislators and Governor Whitmer have provided the first $10 million toward this new hospital in next year's budget. So we have a ways to go in our fundraising, but this is a great start, and that dream will become a reality. Miraculous things happen, lives are transformed, families are supported, and futures are brighter when community collaboration takes place. Our mission to restore hope and freedom through rehabilitation is precisely what will be happening here. Thank you all. I'd like to introduce our mayor of the great city of Grand Rapids, who we all know and love, a former rehabilitation patient, Rosalynn Bliss.
Good morning, everyone. What an exciting day for our city and our state. Oh my goodness, I am absolutely delighted to be here joining our governor as we celebrate this amazing budget that was recently passed. And I'm glad to be joined by our county chair, Commissioner Stan Steck. So really appreciate our partnership with the county. This budget really is significant, and it makes significant investments in communities all over our state. At the city, we are very happy, along with many other cities across our state, as we saw increases in revenue sharing that will go directly to local units, but also funding for community policing, economic development, mental health, really significant and important investments. And this budget really builds on this positive momentum of previous investments that have been made in communities. And what that means is an investment in people, but also in the places where people call home. I am especially grateful that this budget includes direct funding that will have a huge positive impact on Grand Rapids and all of West Michigan. One of the most significant ones will be supporting our growing reputation as a medical hub and healthcare destination, thanks to our incredible healthcare organizations here in Grand Rapids. A place where people come to receive life-saving care, medical intervention, and support. But even more than that, they come here to find hope. Hope during what can be one of the most challenging times that families face. The support of Mary Free Bed's Children's Rehabilitation Center will enable them to enhance their focus on pediatrics in partnership with Helen DeVos Children's Hospital and improve the lives of children with disabilities, all while providing support to their families as they move through this incredibly difficult journey in the medical field. And as Kent said, this initiative is particularly near and dear to my heart. As some of you know, I spent a great deal of my childhood at Mott Children's Hospital and received incredible rehabilitation services there that truly have enabled me to walk today. So this is very near to my heart. It's a huge win for children and families, as now children all over Michigan, including West Michigan, right here in their own backyard, have access to these vital healthcare and rehabilitation services. It will elevate our reputation as a world-class destination children's rehabilitation hospital, and we are so proud that it will be right here in the city of Grand Rapids. In addition to these important investments, I'm also deeply appreciative for the funding and support of other city priorities, including funding for our Grand Rapids Public Museum. I know Dale is here. Dale, I know you've been smiling for over a week now, as well as the amphitheater, which are key redevelopment sites along our river corridor. So we look forward to getting through the permit process and kicking off the river restoration project, which truly is the catalyst for the work we're going to do all along the Grand River. The transformational restoration of the river and redevelopment along its banks, right across from the new Spectrum Health development, will spur robust economic activity not seen in generations. This funding, the funding in this and recent budgets that have been passed, makes our larger vision of the Grand River restoration and the River for All project truly a reality. So I want to end with personally thanking our entire West Michigan delegation, including our senators, Senator Brinks and Huizenga, along with representatives. I know Rachel Hood is here today, but also Representatives Albert and Posthumous and LeGrand. We are so fortunate to have strong voices representing Grand Rapids and West Michigan in Lansing. And then a very, very special thank you to our incredible governor for her tireless leadership, and service, especially during these unprecedented times. Today is a great day for Grand Rapids, but it's also a great day for every child that calls Michigan home. So thank you so much for joining us for this awesome celebration. And now please join me in welcoming Dr. Doug Henry from Mary Free Bed.
Hi, I'm Doug Henry. I'm a pediatric rehab physician here at Mary Free Bed, and I want to talk to you about the importance of this building. When children experience a serious illness, injury, or some sort of disability, that can be very devastating for the child, also for the parents, and they need specialized help. I have a stepdaughter who had a severe traumatic brain injury over 10 years ago, and it's still devastating and overwhelming at times, and we needed that help. And I came here from the Cleveland Clinic about 3 years ago, and there we had a freestanding pediatric rehabilitation hospital. Very small hospital, but it was totally geared towards helping kids improve functionally from whatever disability they had. The environment, the equipment, the people, everything geared towards getting children better. And that's what we need here. We're already doing phenomenal things for children here at Mary Free Bed, but we need a more kid-friendly environment. We need a lot more space to do it, and with that, we can provide a deeper, richer care for these kids and the families. And this building will do that. This building will also facilitate the collaboration that we've had ongoing with all of the specialists at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. It's been phenomenal since I've been here in the last 3 years. And an example of that is our pediatric ventilator program, where we can now bring kids from Helen DeVos on ventilators over to Mary Free Bed sooner to start their intensive rehabilitation sooner. And I want to thank Dr. Hussein Marandi, president of Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, for really leading that collaboration. And it's just been a lot of fun working with his team over there. And we're just incredibly grateful to Governor Whitmer and to the Michigan legislature for allocating $10 million for this rehabilitation center, a very critical center that we need. Thank you very much. And now I want to introduce our next speaker, who has benefited from therapies here at Mary Free Bed for all of his life, and also happens to be a very good goalie. So Taggart Vandermolen, come on up.
Hi everyone, I am Taggart Vandermolen. I was born with CP, and I've been coming here for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I've had a couple surgeries, and I've done a lot of physical therapy here. As I got a little bit older, I heard about a wheelchair sports camp that Mary Free Bed was doing, and I was like, I would like to try that. So I went, and I fell in love with every sport, but most of all, I fell in love with hockey. And I've been doing that for the past 13 years now. I just finished my 13th season. And through all the possibilities and opportunities that Mary Free Bed has given me, I've been able to travel across the country, participate in things internationally. And about 5 years ago, I was sent to a high-level training camp and tryouts for the Olympic team. And first try, I made it onto the development team, which is one step below the Olympic team. So I just finished my 5th season with them, and in 2 weeks now, I'm going to be traveling to New Jersey to try out again for the Olympic team. And everyone's telling me I've got a great chance this year, so this looks like it's going to be my year to make it onto the Olympic team. None of this would have been possible without all the help I've had from Mary Free Bed. All the therapy that they've given me has made me a lot stronger, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. They've made me feel like I can do pretty much anything I set my heart to, and I'm very thankful for all that they have given me. Now I'd like to welcome Governor Whitmer up to the stage.
All right. Thank you, Taggart. Well done. Let's give Taggart a big round of applause. Well, I asked him right before he spoke, I said, are you ready? He's like, oh yeah, I got this. So maybe Taggart will be in this position at some point after his hockey days are, well, maybe his professional hockey days are behind him. But anyway, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for hosting me. Mayor Bliss, thank you for your partnership. Dr. Henry, thank you so much for the work that you do. And Taggart, thank you for inspiring us all this morning. And I want to acknowledge I'm here with my budget director, Chris Harkins, who, as hard as the legislature works, as hard as all the staff works, this is one of the hardest working people in state government, and he helped shepherd this through and got us to this point today. So I couldn't do this work without Chris. And I want to share with you, it was a surprise to me as we were touring the facility to run into a friend of mine from Lansing who was here with her son. And I think it just goes to say, every one of us knows someone who is going to benefit from this investment in Mary Free Bed. And every single one of us should always remember to see the humanity in one another and to make sure that our work represents progress and moving forward and supporting people. So today I'm really excited to be here at Mary Free Bed to celebrate this fourth bipartisan balanced budget. This one done even before the July 1 deadline. It's not to my desk yet. I was hoping to sign it while I was here. I'm still waiting on it. But as I mentioned, as hard as the legislature worked in those final days of getting the budget done, their staff showed up before them, stayed after them, and then there was a holiday. So I know they're working hard, and I'll be eager to sign it probably in the coming days. But we wanted to keep this event so that we could highlight some of the really important, wonderful things that we were able to accomplish. So this fiscally responsible budget brings the rainy day fund, so this is our budget stabilization fund, to an all-time high of $1.6 billion. It pays down billions in debt and secures the retirement of Michigan State troopers and hardworking public servants. And best of all, it doesn't raise taxes by a dime, and it was delivered on time. And I want to thank my Republican and Democratic partners in the legislature for working with me to get this done. So today I want to focus on the omnibus state budget. That is the budget that makes all the investments outside of education. The school aid budget is different. And so this is the budget that invests in everything from workforce development to public safety to public health, infrastructure, and so much more. Later this week, I will be signing the education side of the budget to improve every child's in-class experience, to recruit and retain the best educators, and to build up our schools. So there's a lot to celebrate in the work that we have done, especially when you think about in May of 2020, we were projecting a $3 billion deficit. Now we've gotten historic investments done without raising taxes, and we've left some resources on the balance sheet so we can continue our work. So it's a lot to celebrate. Now I know you all would love for me to give you a 60-minute keynote address on revenue sharing. Okay, maybe there's only one person that would like to hear that, the mayor. But I'm going to keep this short and straightforward. In simple terms, this budget really makes huge delivering on the kitchen table fundamental issues by investing in people, unleashing Michigan's potential, and funding key projects. First, let's talk about people. This budget makes a real difference in people's lives. Two top-of-mind priorities for every single Michigander are public health and public safety, and this budget makes historic investments in both. As a former prosecutor, public safety is a core issue for me, and I'll continue to work with anyone who wants to solve problems and keep families safe in their homes and on our streets. This budget invests additional resources to help communities fund law enforcement, fire departments, and other first responders. It'll set up new statewide judicial case management system so that we can improve court efficiency and get violent criminals off the street. Several Michiganders wrote to my office about how essential investments in public safety are, and I am proud that we came together to get it done. To better public health, the budget improves dental care access for Michiganders enrolled in Medicaid and raises reimbursement rates for critical health services. Britta from East Lansing wrote to my office about the importance of dental care, and she said, inadequate access to dental care can impact people's self-esteem, working choices, or desire for education, not to mention their physical health. No one should feel limited by their smile or lack of. Our budget also speeds up lead service line replacement so that people can get safe drinking water, seals 182 abandoned oil and gas wells, cleans up contaminated sites to reduce environmental pollution of our land and water. And another key element of this budget is focused on mental health. We all know that that's a critical need across our state. We know that it's just as important as physical health, but it's often, care for mental health is often inaccessible in Michigan because there are not enough beds or appointments for patients or just not enough providers. And it's not a unique problem in Michigan. Nationally, this is a struggle, but we're making steps to solve it. This budget makes long overdue investments in both expanding capacity at behavioral health facilities and building new state psychiatric facility and offering loan reimbursement for behavioral health providers so we can lure more people into providing this critical service. And now I want to highlight the budget's investments in Michigan's potential. So with investments in workforce programs and economic development, this budget will power small business growth and uplift every region in our great state. To continue growing Michigan's strong workforce, the budget funds the Michigan Reconnect and Going Pro, which are two successful programs that will help Michiganders on a tuition-free path to higher education or skills training, and it'll help businesses develop high-skill in-house talent. There's so many inspiring stories across our state of people who are able to chase their dreams because of the Michigan Reconnect, and today I want to share one more. And I got to tell you, I run into people all across our state. 170,000 people have signed up for these programs, and I meet them in all my travels. I heard from a guy named Brandon from Holly, Michigan, and saying that this was the difference between struggling to make ends meet and getting a good paying, in-demand job in IT, which we're all looking for, by the way. So I'm proud that Reconnect has been fully funded in our budget and will continue to make a difference in people's lives. The budget also invests in food and agriculture economic development so that we can attract jobs in these key industries and fund the Office of Rural Development. I established this office to connect rural communities with workforce, education infrastructure, and connectivity to meet their needs. And we're also kicking off the Buy Michigan campaign to start to support Michigan-grown and raised products, funding our iconic Pure Michigan campaign to promote tourism and bring visitors to local economies. Michigan has the second most agricultural diversity in the country. It's a huge point of pride for us. We can feed the world from Michigan, and investments like this are how we do it. And finally, the budget will help job seekers and small businesses with open positions by reducing barriers to employment that keep people out of workforce because of transportation barriers or childcare barriers and more. Michiganders work hard. When we support their grit and determination with programs and investments that channel them effectively, there's really no limit to what we can do. I got a note from a woman named Virginia in a small town of just over 200 people in the Upper Peninsula, much smaller than Grand Rapids. She wrote that any item that makes a better life for anyone impacts every one of us. And finally, I want to talk about projects. This budget makes investments in that Michiganders can see and use in buildings and facilities to serve the community. There are several notable projects across the state. The state psychiatric complex that I mentioned earlier, a new state public health and environmental lab, and a new veterans home in Marquette, Michigan. We are modernizing Michigan's armories, and we're funding transformational cutting-edge initiatives at our universities that will spur innovation and save lives. And this includes dairy barns and greenhouses at MSU, an electric vehicle training and deployment center at the University of Michigan, and a cancer institute at Wayne State. So this budget funds several projects in West Michigan. In Holland Township, we will fix a pipeline. In Battle Creek, a river restoration project and improvements to the Binder Park Zoo. In Muskegon, investments to redevelop the 3rd Street Wharf and restoration of the Channel Lighthouse. In Lawton and Sparta, water infrastructure projects. And right here in Grand Rapids, this budget funds improvements to the amphitheater, the City Museum, and this facility, Mary Free Bed, which provides care and rehabilitation services to children as well as the public museum. So excited about that. And so our work in the first half of 2022 has really been historic. I have worked in the state government for the better part of the last 20 years. It's rare that our budget has even kept up with inflation. At this point, we are in a rare position where we're able to make investments that are long overdue, and we're doing it. And we're working together to get it done. When sometimes it feels like the legislature and I don't see eye to eye on anything, it couldn't be further from the truth. We've seen eye on this historic investment, and this is our 4th budget we've done together, and I'm really proud of it. So from winning a combined $9 billion and 7,200 auto jobs investment from GM and Ford as a direct result of our work last December in the bipartisan economic development legislation, to delivering $400 checks per vehicle to every driver, to delivering $1,000 bonuses to 38,000 child care workers, to working together on 880 bipartisan bills since I took office, to the Rebuilding Michigan Together plan that's funding dozens of road and bridge projects and replacing 20,000 lead service lines, expanding high-speed internet, building affordable housing, and improving state and local parks. We're proving in Michigan again and again we can get things done when we work together. So, what's next? Well, this is a bipartisan budget I'm proud to sign, but to ask an age-old important question, what's next on tap, right? Well, right now, Michiganders are facing rising prices in the grocery store and all facets of life. And so even after the budget, the state of Michigan still has billions of dollars we've left on the balance sheet. I think it is time for us to work together as when the legislature gets back to Lansing so that we can put money back in people's pockets. I proposed a number of ways to do that, from eliminating the retirement tax to supporting inflation rebate, to which would be a $500 check, to increasing the earned income tax credit, which would help 730,000 working families. Our collaboration has gotten us to this point. There's more yet to do, but this is a moment to celebrate. And I'm excited that Representative Hood is here. I'm so grateful, Tina, that you are here, and all the leaders that have joined us today. Being here at Mary Free Bed really clarifies why we do this work. Every spreadsheet, every policy memo, every negotiation, all our work in Lansing is about delivering real results for Michiganders, especially for the kids like the ones that are going to be served right here at Mary Free Bed. This program offers comprehensive rehabilitation services for kids ranging from infancy to, I don't want to hang out with you, Mom. I'm not sure what age that is. I'll have to go back and think about it. But they serve Michiganders from 81 of our 83 counties, including nearly 6 in 10 kids who need inpatient rehabilitation. And today, because of this budget, they'll continue to have the resources to grow, to thrive, and to continue to serve our kids. So thank you all for being here. I am so proud of the budget that I'm going to sign soon, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you. So we'll open it up for the press for a few questions. I've invited the budget director to join me because I've got a feeling we could get into some of the nitty-gritty, and I will hand it to him when that happens. Who wants to get us started? Okay, this never happens.
Thanks for taking questions, Governor. Is this on?
Yes,
Okay.
now I can hear you.
All right. You mentioned some of those tax cuts that didn't end up in the budget that's going to come to your desk. Where do you see yourself in the legislature in terms of negotiations? Is it something that's close that can be passed in a supplemental in the coming weeks when the legislature gets back, or is it something where there's still like a lot of ground to make up in terms of negotiations?
I think there's a lot of negotiation ahead, but we have signaled that we're all interested in giving people some inflationary relief right now. My goal is to make it so that it can translate quickly. I'm not interested in something that's going to happen next year. People need help now, and we've got the resources to do it. You know, our credit rating got upgraded by 2 agencies in the middle of everything else that we've had to navigate. It's a remarkable thing, and we are in a position where we could provide some relief. I'm eager to do it. I proposed a number of ways to do it. The legislature has some ideas about how to do it. We just need to get to the table and try to hash those out. So I'd love to get it done before Labor Day, but I'm not going to put a phony timeline on it. My door is open. I'm eager to get to the table and get that started.
Thank you.
If you want it. It's warm in the sun.
I have a question. It's more about the hospital that's been proposed. Does that have to get like a state certificate of need approval and whatnot? And where in the process of all that is this project?
Kent, would you like to tackle that one?
It is in process. The answer is yes. We have to go through that process still.
Okay.
Yep.
Could you talk at all about just the timeline for this project? And 60 million total, 10 million's been secured. When do you, what's the timeline for moving
You
forward?
bet. Yeah. Our hope is to secure all the public and private funding we need, private being those from foundations and individuals and individual families, by next year. And then we would hope to start construction by the end of next year. It's about a 2-year project after that. So we have ways to go.
Very good.
Any other questions?
All right, I guess we wore you all out. Do you have one more?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes, thanks
sure.
for taking questions, Governor. It's great to hear about all the resources that'll be on the way to Michiganders. Of course, the resources that are on the minds of many are reproductive health resources. Do you have an update on the Supreme Court lawsuit that you were working on?
I don't, but I encourage you to ask them that question because I'd love to know the answer. I filed this lawsuit many months ago. It was my hope that it was going to be unnecessary, but we thought for sure that it would be, and obviously there is an important necessity that they take action. I'm so excited that the organizers and stakeholders were able to turn in a historical record high number of signatures yesterday to amend, to go to the ballot and let the people weigh in, because we know 70% of the people in the state support a woman being able to make that choice, even if it's not one that they would make themselves. And so I think that it's really important that our Supreme Court still does weigh in, despite the fact that we've got an injunction at the moment and that it will be before the voters in November. Time is of the essence. I know our providers and people across our state want to know have clarity on what the law is, and that we've got these rights that have been there for 49 years continue to be protected by our state constitution.
Perfect. And just a quick follow-up question, Governor, if you don't mind. I understand that there was a letter sent to the president encouraging him to support over-the-counter birth control. Do you have a comment on that, or do you believe that that's something that we'll be able to achieve in Michigan?
You know, of course I have a comment on that. I sent the letter yesterday because I think it is really important. You know, we won the headquarters of Perigo here in Grand Rapids over another state, and part of the conversation that I had with the CEO was because we were making decisions based on science. And I think that that's something that is worth noting. I was so pleased to see that they are moving forward asking for FDA approval to sell birth control over the counter. It's my hope that the Biden administration can continue to encourage the FDA to move swiftly on this. I think that it would be really important for women and our families.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.